to our Bible story today. We're continuing our topic of faith. And faith is trusting what you can't see because of what you can see. And we have Mr. Doug here today who's going to be helping us tell the story. He's going to be playing the part of Saul. Saul is the person that we're going to be talking about today. And Saul, also known as Paul, actually wrote a lot of the New Testament in the Bible. So, we're going to start out with the first part of this story today. All right, so as a young man, Saul was sent to Jerusalem to study with the famous Rabbi Gamaliel. For Saul, his faith was important, but Jesus was changing the way everyone thought about God. And Saul found himself right in the middle of it. He watched as more and more people were starting to believe that Jesus really is the Son of God. So after his studies, Saul became a religious leader himself. Like the other religious leaders of the time, Saul was caught off guard by Jesus. Jesus had been crucified on a cross, but now his followers were saying that Jesus had returned to life and that they actually had seen him. It didn't make any sense to Saul. He and the other religious leaders were upset that the number of Jesus followers continued to grow. In fact, they did everything they could to stop this new movement. They even arrested a Jesus follower named Stephen. You guys remember Stephen? Stephen was killed. Saul was there. And you know what? He held the coats of the people who were throwing stones at Stephen. As you can see, Saul wasn't someone we'd call a good guy. It seemed like Saul and the Jesus followers would never be on the same team. Saul became known for hunting down people who believed in Jesus. It sort of became his personal mission. One day, he discovered some Jewish people in Damascus were following Jesus. So he went to the high priest Caiaphas to see if he could go to Damascus and investigate. Saul asked Caiaphas for letters that he could take to the synagogues in Damascus. The synagogues were basically churches where the Jews gathered to talk about and practice their faith. Saul wanted these letters so he would be allowed to arrest the believers and bring them to Jerusalem. Caiaphas gave him the letters, and Saul set off with a group of men to arrest any believers they found. After many days on the road, they finally neared Damascus. Suddenly, a bright light from heaven flashed around Saul, and he fell to the ground.
I can't see.
After Saul fell to the ground, this is what he heard.
Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?
Who are you, Lord? Saul asked.
I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting, he replied. Now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do.
His friends led him by the hand into Damascus, where he stayed at the home of a man named Judas on State Street. For 3 whole days, Saul was blind. He didn't eat or drink anything. Saul couldn't deny it. He had a direct encounter with Jesus. He had found himself that he had seen for himself that Jesus very much was alive. Could it be that everything Jesus' followers believed was actually true? Was Jesus actually the Son of God? Had Saul been wrong about him the whole time? Saul's life changed dramatically that day. Even though he was now physically blind, he was able to see everything in a completely new way, all because of Jesus. All right, Thank you so much, Mr. Doug, for playing the part of Saul. You did an awesome job. All right, so we're getting to our bottom line for today and that is knowing Jesus changes the way you see everything. Everything that Saul thought he knew about Jesus changed that day. He would never be the same again. So everything changed for Saul on the road to Damascus. It's really true that God can change the way that we see him and the way we see the world around us too. God helped Saul see the truth in a pretty dramatic way. God opens our eyes too in lots of different ways. And again, our bottom line for today is knowing Jesus changes the way we see everything. So remember that, kids. Knowing Jesus changes the way we see everything. So what are some ways that we can get to know Jesus better? We can read our Bibles, right? We can pray. We can sing Christian songs. There's lots of ways that we can get to know Jesus. And I would just encourage you this week to get to know Jesus a little bit better. All right, you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.